And Happy New Year to everyone. We are back here on Living in the 21st Century. Joining me here today is DJ Rashid. Also is Monique McNeil, Director for the Socioeconomic Development Foundation of Boston. It's a pleasure having you both on the show today.
Thank you for having me here today.
Nice.
Thank
So,
you, thank
DJ
you.
Rashid, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, it starts way back. Back in the early 80s, playing on pots and pans, you know what I'm saying, my grandmother's kitchen, you know. But I've been in the music industry over 25 years plus. And Maurice Starr, my uncle, who gave me my first start,
Okay.
being signed with Critique Records, which was actually in Reading, Mass, under Joey Carvello, was the A&R over there. So I started at an early age performing as an entertainer, singing, dancing, playing instruments, and then later on ended up becoming a professional.
Okay.
So from there, we just went to a whole nother level, you know, coming from Roxbury, and then going from Roxbury to Brooklyn in New York and getting best of both worlds was a great experience. Being able to learn, to be able to be privileged to be able to be in the music industry, some people's dreams, they never get a chance to do that. And but then also being able to learn, coming from the culture, from the streets. So I had best of both worlds, you know, to be able to learn, you know, knowing to grow up with, you know, not having much,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, and then being able to provide for my family at an early age, you know. So I wasn't, you know, raised with that spoon in my mouth, you know.
Well, that's a good achievement so far. I guess a lot of us came from that foundation also, you know.
Yeah.
Trying to get from one level to the next.
Mm-hmm.
So, Director Monique, I know you are the Director of Performing Arts at the Socioeconomic Development Foundation.
Yes.
And I also noticed that you also co-host some of Rashid's shows on his radio show program. Could you shed some light concerning that and what we can look forward to pertaining to the Newlands coming up this year, June 15th, 2019, obviously?
Absolutely. It's been an honor to, you know, be a co-host with DJ Rashid on the morning show. Basically, it's an encompass of what's going on in the music industry, or what's going on, what's hot and trending. And so it's a ever-changing morning show. We're still revamping it at this time, but it's amazing. It's very informative, and it's been an amazing experience. It's definitely been an amazing experience learning to, you know, have that radio personality, you know, which is different from, you know, my world of, you know, public policy.
Right.
It's a bit less serious in a sense, but it's been an amazing pleasure. It's been a pleasure to work with him as well. And I couldn't think of a better nominee for the NULA Awards, the Newton Universal Legendary Award. And, you know, being the Director of Culture, Arts, and Development, you know, I wanted to really ask you, DJ Rashid, what does, you know, first wanted to thank you for being here
I want to thank you
with
all
us
for having
today.
me.
It's amazing.
Yes.
But what does this mean to you, this Newton Universal Legendary Award?
Wow. Well, first, I'm honored to even be being acknowledged and being nominated by you guys, you know, for this award. But it just shows me that, you know, a lot of the hard work that we have put in, 25, 30 years plus, it's been a long time. So a lot of times we're behind the scenes. People don't get a chance to know what we really do.
Yes.
Right.
They look at you just, oh, well, he's a DJ, or, you know, this, that, and the third. And it's not that. You know, I produced a lot of music. I'm working in the community, dealing with children, giving them some inspiration to be able to do other things and let them know that there is a future out there. You are the future, you know? So being nominated for this award, it gives me like a voice, actually, to be able to let the youth know that there's other things you can do. You don't have to just be in this box. You know,
Right.
you can go above and beyond that. You don't have to be stuck in a box, and not to be afraid to let the world know that you got value. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? In substance. So I think this is going to give me a chance to let the world know that, you know, and come from behind the scenes and say, listen, okay, he just don't DJ, he's an entertainer, he's a businessman, he's an entrepreneur, and he gives back to the community, and we work with the community every day,
Nice.
every day, you know, and for music programs, to be able to have funding come in, to be able to get the youth off the street and say, listen, I think culture is through music, you know.
Absolutely.
And I think if we keep the music alive through, you know, everything that we're doing, and if we have more awards like this given out to people who've been in the business 30 years plus, you know, they will know and understand, like, wow, this is, you know, so this is a great honor for me. I really appreciate Newton and you guys, you know, I mean, I guess this is not just Newton, Massachusetts itself, for acknowledging every one of us that is going to be receiving an award.
Absolutely, because
you
it is
know?
really a incumbent of
Yeah.
different people that it really has dedicated
Yeah.
their lives, you know, to their work, to
That's
craft
right.
for the uplifting
right.
of people and the community, and really have made a life dedication.
Yeah.
So I definitely feel like you definitely, you know, fit the dynamics of this award, and
I appreciate
you know,
that.
25 plus
I appreciate
years
that.
doing what you do.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
It's a long time. It's been a long time.
Okay. So tell us about your new recorded documentary that you have in the process of coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, we have the Boston Boy Bands. It's a documentary about my life, about bands that came out of Boston
Yes.
that really didn't get the recognition that they needed. When you are from another town, another city, another country, and you hear Boston, you think about New Kids on the Block.
Yes.
You think about New Edition.
Right.
You don't really know about the Perfect Gentlemen's and the Superiors, you know, and in their achievements. You know, there's a lot of bands and groups that have come from here. So it's about the real story, about what really happened behind the scenes, what's going on. My uncle, Maurice Starr, he groomed us. You know, he took us to another level. But a lot of people know him as the general. They know him as taking, you know, New Edition and New Kids on the Block to another level. And we come from a family of legends. So now it's time to let the world know that Boston had more than just one or two bands there. About, you know, what we did for the community itself and the different developments. There were so many talented artists and actors and actresses that came, you know, like Latamra. Latamra was on the cover of New Edition's first album, and she's an actress. She's from Boston, and she has been in Atlanta for a while. I think she's residing back in Boston now. But a lot of us, she was in a group, Picture Perfect, and by Larry Wool was another big producer out of Boston who has been, you know, who groomed us. Worked on our first project, Be My Girl, that was on the top 100 charts. Kiss 108 was involved. So this documentary is going to be based on basically everyone that was behind the scenes and every artist that didn't get the recognition that they needed, you know, and we're going to show the world, like,
Nice.
this is what's going on.
Excellent. Well, I also noticed that you ran the radio station. What your target audience is like? What parts of the world do you reach?
We're worldwide. We're worldwide. Everyone from Brazil to Barbados to Costa Rica to Japan, you know, to South Africa. We're worldwide. We're basically now between all the stations, between the Mixtape FM, WTY, WFTG Radio, DJs Break My Single, which is on the West Coast. We cover it all. So we have DJs from different countries that are on our stations, that their show come on at a certain time, and we don't discriminate. We cover it all for everybody.
Okay. You have idea what any figures or stats to what your audience is like?
Excuse me?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Do you have any statistics or figures as to what your global audience is like?
Oh, right now we're well over. Right now we're over 500,000 viewers. You know, per week right now.
Worldwide, yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Worldwide. So that's a very good accomplishment.
Right.
And so when we look at the statistics and we look at everything and the demographics on it, if you was targeting a certain audience demographics, you know what I mean, we have it all for you. So if you was trying to launch or brand your company or your show or whatever the case may be, or if it's the Bayesian community or if it's the Asian community, we have that set, so we can definitely. Everyone's listening; they're tuning in, and it's growing. It's
Yes.
growing as we speak. So that's the best part about it.
Well, that's pretty good. And so let me switch back over a little bit to Monique. So tell me something, Monique. So in June, as we said, we're looking to have the first ever Newton Universal Legendary Awards established and the Newey Awards, which is the Newton Entertainment Award.
Correct.
Even though it is under the umbrella of Newton, it doesn't discriminate. As to borrow a word from your vocabulary, we take into consideration other surrounding cities and those from a global standpoint who would be recipients of these awards. What do you think that means for the company as a whole?
I think that it's a tremendous accomplishment, you know, for the company, especially based on the fact that our cultural arts division is really, you know, based on the coming together
Right.
of music as culture as a whole. And, you know, we really understand how important it is to kind of, you know, keep culture and music and theater arts alive, that, you know, it's through music and through cultural arts of coming together where we all are really one. So to have this award and to be able to acknowledge people from different countries, different cities, different, you know, to make that recognition.
I love that because I recognize that in a couple of weeks from now, on I think it's the 29th, I think it is. It's a Saturday, the last Saturday in this month.
Correct.
We're going to be having a group of Chinese
Yes.
who are visiting from China to be
Yes.
here performing
Yes.
in the studio and so forth.
It's an honor.
You are so flexible in terms of reaching out to so many different kinds of individuals to have these kind of engagements. What really got you enraptured with so many different people?
I just, you know,
It just happened.
it just happened, you know. I just always love to be in the mix of things, and I always pictured myself, you know, I want to be a part of something bigger than myself.
Right.
And I always wanted to uplift and to be a leader and to bringing together and making those connections and really maximizing off of every and any opportunity to be heard, to be recognized, to have that platform.
Well, that was well demonstrated because it was later last year when you were the judge for the It Factor.
Yes.
And have some of your performers came here in the studio and perform also.
Yes. Yes.
So I mean, it's really an honor to have someone like you in the Socioeconomic Development Foundation of Boston.
Thank you. It's my honor.
Representing that department because you're really taking things to a whole new level.
That's what it's. That's what it's about. You know, I'm rocket. There's no limits to my possibilities, or it is very endless, and I'm excited, and I'm looking forward, you know, to future endeavors, and I'm really, really excited. 2019 is going to be a new year, and I'm just overjoyed with excitement.
Yes. We have big plans for this year.
Yes, yes, we do. Let's go to work.
Definitely.
So Rashid, I don't recall asking this question yet, but what's your long-term goals as you move from one level to the next? What are your plans for this young generation, especially? we understand clearly that you would have came through some very tough times in your life, and from one generation to the next, there are those who duplicate the same pattern.
Exactly.
And they're looking for someone like you who would have experienced that that lifestyle before, that now are here. How would you best advise these younger people and to get on a positive track?
Well, first, education is first. That's number one. You definitely have to have the education, and you have to be able to listen. You know, and like I always say, always take the cotton out your ears and put it in your mouth, because practice makes permanent. So anything that you do, you know, you want it to be able. They're our future. So we have to lead by example to make sure that they're gonna follow that direction down that right path. But sometimes we have a lot of youth that go astray. For me, it's about corporate takeover. It's about going in here and showing these kids that there's no limit, that you just motivated, determined, dedicated to what you do. So in 5 years, 6 years from now, I want to be able to make sure that any artist or any kids that I'm working with now achieved, they're getting their degrees, they're owning their own businesses, they're learning to be an entrepreneur, you know, and that's success for me. No matter if I never make another hit record in my life, whatever the case may be, if I can get to 2 to 3 kids out of 1 million kids, that's success for me. You know.
You know, I'm glad you've gone down this road, because I have a question, and it may be a little bit political, right? We see over the years that the black culture had tried to make some leaps and bounds in making a difference in their own lives and trying to reach to excellence. And over the past couple of years, we would have had a leader who had taken that same path and turn it upside down. Everything, and even though they said the economy is doing extremely well, we know for a fact that there's still a lot of bondage among the minorities, and they are not privileged. Even if they get a job, maybe paying next thing to nothing, it don't really meet their desires. They're still at a stranglehold in their life. How could we reach out to minorities and enrich their attitude, encourage them to see beyond where the naturalized is seen, seeing the chaos and the disturbance that's not going on at their level, but it's going on at a very high level in society. The people that you look up to for guidance are the said very people who are destroying this nation that your foreparents and ancestors would have worked so hard to build. You are seeing it tear right down before your very eyes.
Of course.
How could we, in our good hearts, want to do the best, but that generation we want to reach out and touch are under this symbolic bondage of leadership? How do we break those chains to get them to a new level?
Well, first, they have to vote. That's number one. They have to vote. They have to go out and understand that they can make a change. So, and be able to care and understand, not just stay home and play your PlayStation and just be outside and, you know, talking with your neighbors and just, you know, you got to understand and listen and learn what's happening, because this affects everybody. So when you're not privileged, it's going to be harder for you. So when you just sweep it under the rug, it's like, oh, I'm not worried about that. Now, once it hits you, because like now what we're going through, right now, we are going through this right now.
Yes.
Come next month, everyone that's not privileged and anyone that's collecting any federal situations are going to fail, and they failing it now. So it's about voting. It's about these kids. It's about the adults and the mentors now to teach the youth and say, listen, you all got to go out here and vote. This is the only way change is going to happen. This is the only way we're going to be able to get out of the suppression and the depressions and everything that's going on around us. Because if not, because at the end of the day, when you look at it, you're not privileged. If you, I don't care, if you commit, you can have someone commit the same crime of different races, and the sentence is going to be different.
Yes.
Totally. That's facts. That's not something that's just you looking on Facebook at. This is facts. Okay, so it starts with voting. You got to get out there. No matter, find out what your rights are, learn and say, listen, I gotta, and stick together. The community has to stick together. You have to have community has to stick together. Once we stick together like this, you can't break us.
Correct.
If I'm over here and you're over there, you can snap a twig.
Right.
But when the community's together, there's no way.
Correct. And even to strengthen that, not only in terms of togetherness, I think what minorities have to do is to put themselves or strive to put themselves in a position where they can make policies, where they can change the constitution that works not only in favor of them, but works in favor for all. That what is going on now will be just a thing in the past. I mean, it's going to take some time. In reality, we still came a long way since 1920. We see black people come to some very prominent positions, Hispanics do likewise, and so forth. There's a change in the wind, but there is an elite group of certain minorities, and this is not in minorities as in minorities in terms of color, but in terms of the wealthiest of the wealthy in this nation, that doing whatever they can to keep certain classes of people at the lowest at the lowest of their life. At the lowest. They maintain that standard where you got to be like the servants grabbing at the crumbs that fell at the master tables, right? We want to evolve and get out of that situation where we can take up the mantle of excellence and be a person in society that we can establish greatness, we can establish excellence for everyone. And even those who are trying to bring barriers and being bigot and in every way cause racism and these tendencies that exist, that we can plant our feet strong in terms of making policies that can change things. And I think that's where we're at. And the reality is there are a lot still of the majority who are in favor of this, but is that little minute of people that causing the chaos all around the world.
Absolutely.
And that is one of the things that we definitely has to change in coming years.
Yeah, we have to change that. But this, like with Monique herself, we spoke on the phone several times, and like she's getting ready. Congratulations, she's about to get her master's. You know,
congrats.
And we discussed about policy, and that's what she's basically, you know, her master's in. It's policy, and policy. Without policy, you can't make no change.
Exactly.
So you know, we have to. That's where it starts with that, you know, and the education of it. And I think a lot of our youth and a lot of our community itself doesn't know about that. And so we have to create awareness for them to be able to know and where to go.
And backing up what you said, it's about accountability.
Yes.
It's about
accountability.
we need more of us in those seats, making those policy decisions, and you know, being able to say, well, wait a minute, you ain't gonna just pass that through here. Hold on, let's bring it back, and really ensure that, you know, this is gonna be beneficial to all people, especially those, you know, within the inner city communities and those who are less privileged. It's important.
It's just amazing how
it's essential.
we move from one phase to the next. But I just want to touch on this briefly. We saw over the past years, especially back in the Obama's administration, how young black men was gunned down for no reason at all, unarmed young black men. And this was done because of the color of their skin. Some weapons were planted on them to make it look as although they were the ones who tried to kill the cop first.
Or killed in custody while in custody.
You know, and these are the things that definitely need to be changed. We had a mayor, I think it was some part in Washington, who the department was sued over and over and over and over for not only discriminatory acts, but also for police brutality and so forth. And still it proceeds to go on and on and on. These are the things where we need to change. And in the process to change that, we also got to change the mentality of our young black men. Life has to be more than taking guns up and gunning down yourselves. Life has to be more than robbing your own fellow person. there is something great to life beside violence. There's something great to life where you can go out and meet your aspirations through education.
That's right.
Try not to get rich too fast by selling drugs
Right.
to your own, especially. You know, it is absolutely wrong to sell to anyone. But I think the time has come where minorities have to fixate their minds on making great for themselves.
Yes.
You know.
Absolutely. And I think it's about also changing the face of our administration, just like, you know,
Yeah.
those who are making the decisions. Like, for example, you know, shout out to Rachel Rollins, the first
Yes.
black district attorney in Suffolk County,
Yes.
the first black woman ever. I think it's just amazing. It's going to set precedent to, you know, what we're going to stand for and,
Yes.
you know, who we are and the changes we can make. So
So,
it starts with us.
Yes, and I
Starts
think
with us.
Rashid, you with at the helm of a great radio station that empowering so much
Yes.
people. I think one great thing would be is that in the process of doing that beside being a great DJ, be a voice for those who
Yes.
need
Yes.
to get a voice out there about cultural development in terms of bringing itself to a whole new level. Use it as a mechanism to
Definitely.
educate and inspire young
Yes.
people at all levels of society.
We have to. We
yeah.
have to.
It's amazing.
And that's where WTY comes in also, because it's about, you know, unity is community.
Yes.
So that's, we get back to that, and that's what we're working on now. Because it's not just about, you know, you're playing this type of music, that type of music. It's really about
Being a voice.
being a voice in the community.
Yes.
And all of us coming together, because I think that's what we have lost already, you know, and we need to bring it back.
Oh, we're going to get it back.
You know, so that's what we definitely need to do, you know.
Well, that's really good. Well, Moni, we're coming down to the last 2 minutes of our program. I want to give you, well, Rashid, you give your last words, and then Moni, you do likewise.
Sure.
Well, I just want to say I appreciate, you know, New TV for having me
Yes.
and honoring me and nominating me for this award. I appreciate everything being here and the community itself. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate, you know, you, Arrow, for having the show. I appreciate you, DJ Rashid, for being here and really sharing your experience and your commitment to your craft with the rest of us and thus the world. And I look forward to seeing you be
Yes.
presented with that award on June 15th.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So it's going to be amazing. And thank you.
Well, I want to thank you both. That's Rashid, DJ Rashid. That is Monique, Director for Performing Arts at Socioeconomic Development Foundation of Boston. And to all those out there who have been tuning in, I want to say thank you very much and tune in once more. Bye-bye.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.